Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm very excited. So as you know, I'm experimenting with which days of the week to have these lives. I can clearly tell that you guys love that we are having these little mini connection session, but I'm trying to figure out what day could be the best day for everybody. And so that's part of why I am kind of switching up the days on everyone to kind of see which one works. So, and if you feel one way or the other about this, let me know. I would love to hear and have your input on what day we can make this our thing. Hi, Dr. Janan. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Today's topic, as usual, this is where I get my ideas. It was a question that I received in my inbox. And like I said, I always encourage you guys to DM me. And I always encourage you guys to send me your questions because I'm really interested in knowing the different things that all of you are kind of struggling with and want to get some guidance or some direction on it. And I am trying to do the best, my absolute best, to kind of answer these questions as quickly as possible because guys, we are already in August. Like, this thing is moving very quickly. So for all of you joining me, my name is Sally Traore Uwalaka. I am the founder of Resi Prep, a premier residency student coaching service primarily focused on helping you stand out and helping you develop a personalized plan and helping you match by design and not just luck. And if you're new here, welcome. But if you've been with me through these lives, you kind of probably know how this is gonna go. Today's topic is 5 things that I personally believe you should consider and think about strongly before you make that decision to reach out to a residency program. This is a super important topic because if you have not done a rotation at this residency program, if you've not met the residency director by like a chance encounter, if you weren't referred to this residency program director as a referral from a mutual connection, it's kind of like difficult to figure out what exactly you want to say and how you want to say it. And so the thing is, I wanted to kind of come and address this here so that we can all kind of move forward with confidence because I'm here, I have your back. So when you think about reaching out to a program, whether it's a residency or a fellowship, I know you, those of you who I speak to often, you're probably thinking like, oh, you say this all the time. But I think it's important to set your intentions first. It's very, very important to be clear about why you are doing this, because that's how you're kind of going to be able to develop your email and be able to communicate clearly with the program. So I think it's important to set your intention. So with this program, I had a rotation there, but I had very little encounter with the residency program director. I really just want to communicate to the director that my rotation experiences at this hospital have been amazing. I've had an opportunity to interact with a lot of different preceptors, not just the one I was assigned to. And this has really helped solidify my interest in their program. So I am reaching out to just let them know that you're on my radar and I'm very interested, blah, blah, blah. So suggestion number 1 of the 5 things that I have: do not generate a mass email. The problem with generating a mass email is that 1, your email is not going to be personalized. And it's just like I don't know if this is still a thing, but I still find that a lot of people underestimate the tone that your email can send. and the message that your email can send based on the tone of it. When you're excited, I promise you, it can be felt through your email, and the message that you're drafting, it can be felt through it. So the danger, right? The danger of drafting a mass email that you're just going to send the same email to every single program, it's that it's going to seem super rehearsed, very disconnected. So I want to encourage you to personalize your email. Take a moment, get to know the program, go on their website. Perhaps you met an alumni of their residency program. Introduce yourself by kind of plugging that person in there so that the director knows that you didn't just come upon their program from looking in a directory or something super impersonable, but you were kind of guided or directed to check them out because of your strong interest in ambulatory practice or your strong interest in mental health or behavioral health. And you've heard about all these different things they have in place to train pharmacists in this area. So that's the beauty of sitting down and setting your intentions and not doing this email in a mass email type of way. The second thing is, I don't know, I've tried to figure out how to explain this, but be complimentary to the program when you draft this email, but don't be thirsty. Like, don't be a thirst bucket. Like, it's one thing to tell somebody you admire them, you admire their contribution, you admire all of the work that they have done, and training with them or learning from them would be a privilege. All of that is cool, but I just want you to kind of keep the brown nosing to just stay mindful. Stay mindful. It's a very, very thin line between being super excited and very interested when you reach out to people or even when you meet them in person. It's not like it's very difficult for that line to get blurry and then all of a sudden it gets very weird. And you don't want to give off any awkward vibes or anything of that sort. So that's like the number two things. If you're writing an email or walking up to a director because of something that they have contributed or an article you read that was published by them and your mid-year poster was kind of their project contributed to your mid-year poster, their publication, I think that that's a wonderful thing to share with a person. Everybody wants to feel like they're doing meaningful work that's impacting the next generation of pharmacists. There is nothing wrong with this, and bringing this up and citing this, it's encouraging for the person who's published, but also I think for you, it could really give life to a genuine connection, which is what you should really, really be striving for. Nothing super superficial like that. I want to caution you against using political or religious language. The rule with this I think this rule will stand forever. You do not know where people's politics lie. You don't know where people's feelings are around religion. There are people who literally do not believe in organized religion. You don't want your first encounter or email to give off any vibe where you are going to be easily categorized. You cannot do that. I really, really want to empower you to be yourself. Like, I mean, those of you that talk to me often, you know how big I am about, trust me, you want them to know who you are. You want them to like you for who you are. You want them to not like you for who you are. This is going to be the easiest version of yourself you're ever going to be in life. 12 months is a really, really long time to show up every single day and have a persona every single day. And so I am a huge, huge advocate for showing up in the world and occupying the space that you want to occupy and how you want to occupy that space. The people who love you, trust me, they'll love you for being the extra person that you are, the bubbly person that you are, and they'll appreciate all of the things that make you you. And so for me, I just want to advise you to kind of stay away from political and religious rhetoric because you don't want to be categorized. You just want people to be able to get to know you before all of those complicated, which unfortunately they are complicated things that can come into the mix. Number 3, we're on number 4 now. I don't even know how to overemphasize this. I'm like trying to figure out a creative way to say this, but you have got to proofread like your life depends on it. There is nothing that gives off the worst vibe than an email that is riddled with typos. Think about this. You basically took the time, or you sat down and decided, I'm going to reach out to person X. You took the time, did the research, and found person X's email. You took the time and did the research about person X's program. Then you sat down and figured out a way to organize your thoughts, right? Organize your thoughts and draft that in an email format. If that email is just riddled with poor sentence structures and riddled with typos, and there are things that are just coming to the surface, you have missed the mark in a huge way, right? Nothing says attention to detail than a clean, crisp, straight to the point communication, which is what you want in this instance. This is just an introduction. This is just, hey, I've come across your program. I really am interested. I look forward to meeting you at mid-year. This is what this is supposed to do. It's not supposed to have them develop any other feeling, especially if that's going to be a negative, because you didn't take an extra minute to read this email line by line, word for word, to make sure that there were no typos. So my advice is to proofread like your life depends on it. The 5th and final feedback that I have for you is put the email address last. There are a few benefits to doing this. When you are basically drafting an email, if you start with the email and you're emailing a bunch of people at the same time, you do not want to send program A's intro email to program B. And so I think it's really important to start with the body of your email, to start with the content. After you proofread and you know that this is it. This is what I want to convey, then put in the email address. It forces you to kind of tune in, even if an autopilot, and just typing email, content, send, email, content, send. If you fall into autopilot with a pattern like that, you're going to make a mistake, and it's super awkward and incredibly uncomfortable when that person responds back and said, I'm very excited that you're interested, but this is not my program. And it's super awkward, and I honestly don't even know how you would bounce back from such an encounter. So my advice is to avoid that encounter completely and just wait after the body and the proofreading and all that is done, and you've set your intentions, you send the email, and then you wait. A piece of advice I want to give you: it is okay if the program doesn't email you back. It is okay. This is completely fine. It's great if the program emails you back, because when you meet that person at mid-year, you have the awkward part that's out of it, and you can come in and introduce yourself more. I'm the student from X school that's been emailing you, and thank you so much for being so responsive. It's an opportunity for you to elevate your conversation with that director one step further. When it's a day, they're literally going to talk to hundreds of people that day. So yes, it would be wonderful if they could remember you from the showcase. But this is about how all of the little building blocks that you're doing along the way are going to add up over time. Emailing the director, meeting the director at mid-year and introducing yourself, and then meeting the residents that are currently in the program. And even if you reach out to those residents or those fellows right now, and this is why I say that this process is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And people who figure that out early help save themselves so much stress and anxiety. At mid-year, not everybody is good at just walking up to people that they do not know and strike up a conversation, and they're able to have a connection right away. And what emailing the program early does is that it gives you an opportunity to connect with the directors, whether they email you back or not, that's okay. You just want to be able to have that extra layer of confidence, like, okay, at least this is not the first time that I've attempted contact. And sometimes they acknowledge your email and they may not respond to you. There are no rules around how this thing works. Different directors are going to have different standards about how they want to handle. Think about it, like they're dealing with hundreds, and some places have hundreds of candidates that are applying to them. It gets very overwhelming very quickly to set the intention to respond to every single email. What you need to remember is that you cannot despair. You cannot get discouraged because they didn't respond to you. This is one more building block in your journey of establishing a connection. And so I really just wanted, those are my 5 things, guys. I have 10 up, but you know what I mean. Those are my 5 things for things to consider. I would really want to encourage you to start getting comfortable with self-reflection, asking yourself some very challenging and kind of questions that force you to set your intentions, because I can't overemphasize how much power this gives you and how much clarity this gives you in your journey. It's a challenging journey, and you go to mid-year, and for the first time, you have a visual representation of what the competition actually looks like. You may have read the statistics, you may have read how many people matched compared to those who didn't, but mid-year can be a very intimidating time for a lot of people, because for the first time, it could be that realization for you, like, oh my God, I know that they're saying it's competitive, but this program only has 2 positions, and there are over 30 people here that want to talk to them. This is about running your race. This is about running your game plan, and this is about your journey. It's not about taking your game plan and your journey and placing that in the shadow of what other people are doing. That's going to have you fizzle out very quickly. It's going to have you kind of start operating from a space of fear and doubt when that's not what you need. Your mind needs to be focused on actionable items, actionable things that are going to yield real results. And so strategy is everything. You guys know how I'm about. Strategy is everything. We don't make a single move unless we can kind of hypothesize what other moves this one move will lead to. That is the only way we control anxiety. That is the only way we take back our power and control, by just not winging it and letting things twist in the air and like, okay, that's done. I'm going to hope for the best. I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you tell all your friends. I'll continue to switch the days around until, you guys DM me and give me a consensus about what day you guys really would love for this to be. But I know today's Friday night, so I'm not trying to be on here too long with all of you. I have a question. The question asks, do you also support people have done their career and realize they want to go back and do a residency? Absolutely. This is such a great question. And I try to make sure I am letting this group know that if they are interested, they should reach out to me for a discovery call. Yes. New practitioners are people who are interested in reevaluating and exploring. I work with those as well. Thank you so much for this question, Dr. Janan. I love it. But let me know. I'm still taking discovery calls, guys. I'm still here, willing and ready to speak with you and meet with you and figure out what could potentially be the best move forward for you. This is not a one size fits all. I feel like I say it so many times, but it's all my years of doing this. The idea that one plan could work for a bunch of people, no. Every single person I work with has their own plan and has their own strategy, because no 2 people's goals are perfectly aligned to the point where I can just say all the people who are interested in this is what I'm going to do. And so we are in August. I want to encourage you to keep going, continue performing on Appies, continue asking me questions. I am more than happy to respond to them for you. And I am rooting for you, and I am here to help you win. And again, I'm so grateful for all of the questions and grateful for your listening ear. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're watching this on playback, thank you for taking the time to check it out. Have a great weekend. Until next week. Bye.